Hi everyone. Today's topic is naturalization. That is the process for applying to become a U.S. citizen. Now, before we get started on what the requirements are for naturalization, I do want to make clear that the requirements for military members to naturalize are different. So if you are a current U.S. military member or you're a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, this presentation might not apply to you. And you definitely want to consult with an attorney about whether or not you might qualify for naturalization because of your military service. Now, assuming you are not a current or prior military member, the requirements for naturalization are typically that you have been a green card holder for at least 5 years. However, if you are married to a U.S. citizen, that period is reduced to 3 years. That you have been a person of good moral character during that time, the 3 or the 5 years. That you have been physically present in the United States for at least half the time of that 3 or 5 year period, half the days, and that you have been continuously residing in the United States throughout that time, meaning that it doesn't appear that you've moved abroad and were just traveling in every few days to the US for a visit, for example. Now, that sounds simple and straightforward enough, but there's a lot of nuance to that, especially when it comes to issues of whether the person has been continuously residing in the U.S., particularly if they've been traveling abroad a lot, and also good moral character. I cannot emphasize enough that the intersection between criminal history and good moral character is extremely complicated. Even criminal history outside that 3 or 5 year period may have an impact on whether or not you're eligible to naturalize. If you have any criminal history at all, I cannot strongly say this enough. You must consult with an attorney before you file to naturalize. Not only is it possible that your criminal history might cause your naturalization application to be denied, but it could be that your criminal history is of a nature that jeopardizes your status as a green card holder. And if you go ahead and file to naturalize, you do your fingerprints, they take your background checks, and they figure out you have a conviction that jeopardizes your green card status. Not only might you be inviting a denial of your citizenship, you might be inviting the commencement of a deportation process against you in the immigration court system. Please, please, please consult with an attorney if you have any type of criminal history before filing to naturalize. Once you've ascertained that you're eligible to naturalize, there's an application that needs to be filled out. There's certain documentation that needs to be provided, particularly if you're applying on that 3-year timeline based on a marriage to a U.S. citizen. There will be an interview scheduled, and at the interview you will have to pass a test based on U.S. history and civics and government questions. You'll also have to demonstrate a sufficient knowledge of the English language. Now, depending on your age and the number of years that you've been a green card holder, you might be able to get the English language portion of the exam waived, and you might be eligible for a simpler version of the civics exam. If all of those things go well, your application is approved. You'll be given a date and time for your oath ceremony. You are not a U.S. citizen until you take the oath. It doesn't matter if you get an approval notice or not. Until you get that oath administered, you are not a U.S. citizen. And after your oath is administered, you get a naturalization certificate as proof of your citizenship. So it can be about a 6-month process, maybe longer depending on your jurisdiction, and also maybe longer these days due to COVID backlogs. But it is sort of the most rewarding part of the work we do, because it's the end of that really long, sometimes complicated, sometimes emotionally draining immigration process. Obtaining U.S. citizenship is that ultimate goal in our immigration world. And so for that reason, I love working on citizenship cases with people. I love working on naturalization cases. I love helping them to reach that end goal of their immigration process. So if you're interested in naturalizing as a U.S. citizen, please call my office to schedule a consultation, 323-475-8716. And I look forward to speaking with you. Have a great day, everyone.